let's get into the fine details of controlling your wave. The first action we'll talk about is pushing. This video is part 3 of our wave manipulation series, and the first video contained really basic information. But if you haven't watched the second video on the overall concept of controlling the wave, then we really suggest you go back and watch before continuing. So first, let's go over the goal that we're trying to accomplish in lane. Like we talked about in video 2, we're looking to deviate from the neutral wave position to a more favorable position. And the only way to deviate from the neutral wave position is to push the wave. So, how do you do it? Accomplishing a push comes down to one thing. The wave pushes in the direction with the least cumulative minion health. If you add up all of the HP of the minions, the side with the most health will most likely push. With 2 small caveats. The first, melee minion HP, is a little bit more valuable than caster or cannon minion HP. This is because once the waves meet, the first thing any minion attacks is the enemy minion wave's melee minions. Let's take a look. For example, if blue side had a melee minion that's lost 200 health, it's much different than red side having a caster minion that's also lost 200 health. Once the waves crash, the low HP melee minion on the blue side is going to take the brunt of the damage and die quickly. However, since red side only lost HP on their caster minion, the caster minion is going to be unaffected for the time being. So blue side lost damage, while red side still has the same amount of damage, causing the wave to push into blue side. Next, cannon minion's life is more valuable than either the caster or the melee minions. The cannon minion deals significantly more damage than either of the two, which means that it will push much faster. Also, note that we said the cannon minion's life is more valuable, not its HP. In most cases, the cannon minion won't get initially targeted by enemy minions, just like the caster minions, so it can lose health without being detrimental to a push. For example, let's say blue side lost a melee minion but still had its cannon minion. Let's also say that red side lost its cannon but still had the rest of its minions. Since the cannon minion deals much more damage, the wave will definitely push in the favor of blue side just from sheer damage. So, as long as you have more cumulative minion health with those 2 small caveats in mind, you'll always be pushing. Easy enough. Everyone probably knows the basics of pushing a wave. However, the more important aspect is pushing speed. You might have heard phrases like a slow push or a fast push. If you haven't, well, these phrases really just refer to how long it takes the wave position to move in one direction. So, what is the difference between a slow push and a fast push? Let's quickly compare the two. For reference, let's say we're in the bottom side laning phase. A slow push can take up to 2 minutes for your minions to reach their tower, and in contrast, a fast push, if executed correctly, can take as little as 15 seconds. A slow push is started by having a small cumulative minion HP advantage, and a fast push is started by having a large one. Okay, but how does this work? Well, let's take a look. For example, if you have 6 full HP minions and your opponent has 4 full HP minions, the wave position is going to sit here for a while until all 4 enemy minions are dead. By this time, 3 of your minions have died to their 4 and the next enemy minion wave is coming in, causing the wave to move up maybe by this much. You now have 3 plus 6 or 9 minions versus their 6. This continues until your wave hits a tower or an enemy evens out the wave. This is a slow push. The main goal of a slow push is to build a large minion wave. In most cases, this isn't very applicable because a slow push just allows your opponent to sit back and wait in safety until this huge wave crashes at his tower. Then he can just grab all the farm and experience under the safety of his tower. However, you can use this huge wave to coordinate a dive with your jungler. By threatening a dive, you can accomplish one of 2 things. 1, you'll zone the enemy off the wave and then deny them farm and or experience. Or 2, they'll stay and you can dive them while they have this huge wave stacked up at their tower. The benefit here is that once they start attacking you, your massive minion wave will start hitting them as well. However, this is extremely hard to pull off and to coordinate, so we advise that you stray away from this tactic unless you're very coordinated with your jungler. Like we said, the applications for slow pushing in the early game are a little limited, but very useful later on in the game, which we'll cover later in the series, so we'll just move on for now. The one you'll probably use the most is fast pushing. You have 6 minions just like last time, but the difference here is that the enemy only has 2 minions because you've used an AoE ability to quickly kill the other 4. In this scenario, your minions make quick work of the last 2 enemy minions, and you only lose 1 minion in the process. Since your wave cleared the enemy wave so quickly, your wave crashes into the tower much further than in the previous scenario. The main goal here is to get your wave into their tower as fast as possible. Some of the most notable applications are denying the enemy CS while they're not in lane, putting down consistent damage onto their tower, bouncing, or resetting. Which leads us to our next section: what are the results of a fast push? So let's go over the results of a fast push. There are two ways fast pushes can end for you in one instance. You either reset the wave or you bounce the wave. Resetting is when you fast push a wave into their tower and their tower kills off your minions before their next wave arrives. So now the two incoming minions from both sides meet up at the neutral wave position, hence the word reset. Bouncing is similar in action, except the results are a little different. When you bounce, you're fast pushing with the intent of your minion wave not dying before the incoming wave gets there. By doing so, their incoming wave gets halted here while your minion wave dies. Now, your incoming wave has moved up here, and when the enemy's wave finishes off your current minion wave, they clash at this spot. The reason this happens is because the minions on both sides spawn at the same time and reach the middle of the lane at the exact same time. Since we've pushed where they meet in another direction, one side will take longer to reach the battlefield while the other won't take quite as long, because we've shortened the distance for one and elongated the distance for the other. Okay, so why is this important? Well, if a minion wave enters the battlefield before the other, they're undoubtedly going to deal more damage in the long run than the one that arrives late, meaning the cumulative health on the side that arrives first is going to be much higher. This is the start of a slow push. Their minions will slowly outdamage yours and eventually push into your tower. So in essence, we pushed the wave into the tower and it bounced back into our tower. We're bouncing the wave by forcing the enemy minions to slow push to our side. Well, since you're fast pushing in both scenarios, how do you tell if the wave is going to bounce or reset? It depends on two factors: where the incoming enemy minion wave is, and the cumulative minion health when your wave hits their tower. The main thing you should be worried about in this situation is, will my current minion wave die before their incoming minion wave clashes? If yes, then it's a reset. If no, then it's a bounce. For example, let's say you have 4 half HP minions left and the enemy has 2 half HP minions. Your incoming wave is here. By mirroring it on the other side, we know that the enemy incoming wave is here. If you fast push the remaining 2 minions, your minions would certainly die before their incoming minion wave reaches, causing a reset. Alternatively, if we take the same amount of minions remaining, but now the incoming minion waves are here, you can see how the enemy minion wave reaches the battlefield first and gets stopped up. Once your minions die, your incoming minion wave now sits here and the entire wave position is now moved here. Now, you might be wondering, why haven't we talked about the presence of champions yet? Surely your opponent isn't going to just let you minion wave push into his turret knowing the consequences. Well, champions definitely matter. The champions who deal the most damage to the enemy wave and ultimately kill the enemy minions the quickest will inevitably be the ones who can easily start a fast push. For example, Caitlyn has pretty decent pushing power. She can Q the wave and deal a bunch of damage pretty quickly to the minions. On the opposite side of the spectrum, Vayne has no AoE abilities, making it very hard for her to start a fast push. So if the enemy is fast pushing on you, you can counter it by killing minions as quickly as the enemy is killing your minions. However, if you're playing a bad matchup like Vayne versus an enemy Caitlyn, then you're going to have to let her push your wave in and last hit at tower while she constantly destroys you. Alright, so we've covered how you can deviate from the neutral wave position using a fast push. We also know the results of a fast push is either a bounce or a reset. In the next video, we'll be going over how you can keep your wave in that deviated position by freezing the wave. As always, make sure to leave a review or any questions you might have down at the bottom. Thanks for watching.